the 3 types of content that I do not currently make that I've never made before. Maybe suggested in the past, maybe even made it subtly in the meantime. But these are 3 types of content that I haven't made before. And I'll talk about what they are and what it might mean for me to make them in the future, or even if I ever get to make them in the first place. So the first kind is a bit of a patronizing on my end. It is vlog content that is more outdoorsy, public, sociable. Basically stuff that people think I'm not doing, but maybe I already am. But basically it's anything that doesn't result in me making the webcam on-camera presence, talking head video in my room on my webcam and my mic, and instead being in the outdoors, or even editing that more so. It is basically doing outdoorsy content that looks like there's more of a world than I make it seem there is. And yeah, that would be a pretty quick one for that one. I can elaborate on the other 2 for the rest of this video. The second kind of content I never made before is the full-scale, feature-wise presentation, TV and film-esque, if even reality realized, kinds of claymation, stop-motion animations. Now, that's not to say that the short films I ever made were never anything worthwhile. They actually add up to where I am right now, and they are very, very pleasant what they are. But for starters, they are literally short, and for another thing, it is nothing like they could be in the future. And that's not to say that they're not worthwhile, or even worth the progress, or worth what they mean to me. They mean a lot to me to have short films like that in claymation. But what I'm talking about is basically feature film kinds of claymations where they actually come across as being like a full system. I do lip sync, I do multiple figures, background designs, even special effects, and guest stars for VAs and other kinds of things. It wouldn't have to just be, oh, this is a one-off, I'm going to practice with this and be grateful. And I am grateful, believe me, I am, but that's the thing. So that third kind of content I haven't made before, but maybe I have, is content that really is philosophical and mesmerizing. And I think that's a little bit of a self-criticism. It's not like nothing I ever made before was never philosophical and critical and made you think, and maybe even was worth it and innovative in a way that no one else was looking for. But that's a bit of a placeholder at that point. Like it's a question of what if I could make things more philosophical than I already do, instead of bragging about being a philosopher the whole time without trying, and actually doing more than I do. Could be textbook philosophy, I keep calling it textbook philosophy, as in researching actual philosophies that exist and other kinds that I could innovate towards in. But basically, this is an ideal that I could be more philosophical than I give myself credit for, and give it even more philosophical in ways I haven't explored yet. So we're going to expand with 3 anti-examples of content I never made before. Let's explain 3 types of content I have made before, but people don't believe me. The 3 kinds of content. The first kind is, I have made this kind of content before, no one believes me. I have made content that is quality. Now, that is a bit of an understatement. There are people who already assume I make quality content sometimes, if not all the time. But the thing is, I don't like making quality content, and that can add really bad into things I tried to debunk before, things of the nature of why I don't understand what my passion is, if that's even a misunderstanding of that in the first place. I have made quality content, but it depends on how I perceive it, or how I perceive the actual nature of video making to be. The second kind of content that I believe I have made, people don't believe me, is I have made content based on a niche down. And I think I was niche down in claymation for the longest time. People still refuse that as an ideal. So be it. I have niche down to claymation a handful of times before. People haven't believed it. I have made claymations based on that niche down, and therefore I have made claymations on a niche down before. And that doesn't mean I never niched down anything else before. I have niched down on storyline, philosophy, obviously, piano music, singing stuff, other projects, other kinds of vlogs and stuff, the deep talks for their own particular sake, etc. The third kind of content I have actually made before, no one believes me, is social content. And that contradicts number 1 from the first part. Yes, I actually did question if I made social content, but the content I guess that is social, that is not in total hypocrisy to that, maybe. I have made social content before, and that's based on how I talk to the camera, maybe. But in a literal sense, I have talked to people on videos before, and some of those aren't even come lately. But I just, it's not that you can't find it in yourself to be a creator who never finds the content that they could enjoy in the future, because that's one of the issues with anything I relate to with passion and all that. maybe I could find content I actually enjoy instead of just bouncing back and forth, which I enjoy anyways, but instead of just bouncing back and forth into content that I think I enjoy or content I have to be grateful for, I could find out what's missing, which I'm good at anyways, or find out what I could do with in the future with content to come, not just content I already made. But either or, they're both good for me. So that's all, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll cross it out, guys.